Hello guys, and I think this might be one of my favorite videos to record in a long time. And all because I can start it with an important update. Russia does not control its borders in Kursk region. And it is official, confirmed by the Russian Ministry of Defense, or better say offense, and various Telegram channels and even Russian propagandists. They all say that close to 100 of Ukrainian soldiers with 11 tanks, 20 armored vehicles crossed the border in Kursk region and continue movement deeper inside Russia. And -1 military helicopter of the Russian army. I'm sure many things are happening, but most importantly, this is a very vivid signal. Russia does not control its borders. It is extremely vulnerable, and as a classical bully, it only pretends that controls everything and threatens the world, when in reality, war is coming back to Russia. Actually, I loved one of the explanations in Ukrainian Facebook where people say, why should we fight this Russian war in Ukraine? If Russians want it, let's fight, but on the Russian territory. And that's exactly what we are doing since today. It was a great pleasure to collect the information about the special military operation of the Ukrainian armed forces in the Kursk region as we liberate it from the Kremlin regime. So let me tell you more. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, I love my country, I am always proud of my country, but today specifically, subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity and see Russia defeated. So let's start. Something that seemed totally unbelievable at the very start of invasion, when even our partners believed Ukraine will collapse. But no, it may be that Russia will collapse, so stop being afraid of that. Because actually the military defeat of the modern-day Russian Federation would be a blessing for all of us and a liberation for the people of Russia, if you care about them so much. Those of you who follow my channel may remember that in March 2023, similar things were happening, but on a lighter note in Kursk and Belgorod regions, organized by Russian movements, liberation movements, anti-Kremlin, like the Freedom Legion and so on. I had a video about that on the channel, but it seems like today, it is the special military operation organized and fully led by the Ukrainian armed forces. So imagine how humiliated Russian army feels at this moment when they try to demonstrate to China, to Iran, to the United States and the European Union that they are so strong that no need to support Ukraine. We will never win, and in reality we have Ukrainian tanks driving the Russian roads, and not just driving, -1 military helicopter. So let's start from the very beginning. What is happening right now? It all started at 3 a.m. with Ukrainian soldiers, close to 100, maybe even more, you never know, started pushing the Russian border in Kursk region. Kursk region borders with Sumy region of Ukraine that is often targeted by evil Russian bombs, and perhaps it was a very smart decision of the Ukrainian military commanders that we have to safeguard this area of Ukraine, and if Russians want to fight, let's fight, but on the Russian side, and I totally support this idea. So anyway, soldiers were not moving alone. So this is not a partisan stuff or something. This is a real counter-offensive or offensive. Anyway, operation of the Ukrainian armed forces backed up by the artillery, drones, tanks, armored vehicles, and all of that started moving and crossed 2 districts within the Kursk region. Many people started escaping to Kursk. It's not the evacuation even, because they are very much afraid. And I'm sure not that much of the Ukrainian armed forces as of Russian army and Russian air defense. We know how untrained and unprepared they are. Why was it so easy for the Ukrainian soldiers to break Russian border? What a beautiful phrase, to break Russian border. Well, first of all, because Russia is a bully and it is extremely fake. And all of these narratives about their strengths, they are just narratives. But also because these parts of Russia were protected by not prepared and not protected soldiers and Kadyrov's troops. This is a very funny, what's the word for a bad funny? Leader, so-called leader of Chechnya, who actually betrayed his own people. And in Ukraine, we often call him and his army TikTok army. Do you know why? Because they upload loads of TikTok videos that they often film in Chechnya or in Russia, pretending they are doing cool stuff in Ukraine when they are very much afraid. And their main task as a part of the Russian army is really bad. They typically control Russian soldiers, do not let them retreat, and shoot down the wounded. So this is just like awful. Well, no sane army would agree to do that. But inside Russia, Chechen army is treated as very strong, very evil. I don't know why, honestly. Because they are a TikTok army and they were responsible for the protection of Kursk, and they started escaping as soon as they saw perhaps the first Ukrainian tank. Subscribe to see more of Russian regions liberated by the Ukrainian armed forces. Compare that with the start of the Russian invasion to Ukraine, how bravely people were protecting the roads. And I remember one of the news that actually inspired me to start the vlog was to demonstrate you this bravery and heroism of ordinary Ukrainian people who went out on the streets of Kyiv region to block the roads against the Russian tanks. And here we see Russian army running from the Ukrainian tanks, just like 11 of them or something like that. What is also interesting, there are videos of Russian soldiers that were already taken as prisoners of war by the Ukrainian troops in Kursk region. So we are capturing them in Russia. Once again, the best option possible from my point of view. And it may seem funny, the very title of this video, but I clearly remember how at the start of my channel, I had some good Russians coming in comments and saying that, well, first you will liberate yourself and then you will liberate us. Such comments actually made me very angry. Because come on, you are a nation of 144 million and we are a nation, oh my god, of like 33 million and more problems, and like we were invaded, we have so many troubles, you are responsible for your own country. But sometimes I feel that Russia desperately needs this military defeat. Russia desperately needs to lose this war. This is actually one of the best chances for them to start rebuilding, reconstructing, and not to become, I don't know, a dead fascist, racist state. So I think that, for example, when Russia loses Crimea, this may lead to the collapse of the modern regime in Russia. Once again, I do not believe in that population. I have more hopes, for example, for the people of Belarus, but I do not believe in Russia, but still, this gives them at least a minor chance. So when memes appear that Ukraine is now liberating Kursk region, it is partially true. Let me know in the comments, do you think that Russian military defeat would actually lead to the liberation of Russia? I think yes. I think that's what we should want and do our best. And that's why it is so important for YouTubers, for people who care about Ukraine, for you, my dear friends, to spread this message. Do not try to negotiate, freeze the conflict, and observe what will happen. More, wars, more troubles will happen. We see what Russia does right now with its authoritarian allies. We need to defeat this evil and then start rebuilding this part of the world. I share the opinion of Vlad Wexler, which he often airs on his channel, that not only the strategy of how to win this war is absent, but also the strategy what to do with this part of the world is absent. And people like me and like you are responsible for thinking, maybe even fantasizing, imagining at the very start this option, but then it will become real, because for decades it was the greatest sin of the world to hide behind the Iron Curtain so many beautiful nations like Ukraine, like the Baltic countries, we may say even Poland, occupied by the communists. And now many of you, when traveling, when seeing these countries and people, you realize how bad it was that we were hidden, and how bad it was for us, you cannot even imagine. That's why we have to be responsible, we have to be creative, and we have to be brave, just as those Ukrainian soldiers who broke the Russian border. And please, the world, please, all those presidents of the United States and prime ministers of the Great Britain, and people in Australia, and people in Japan, and in South Africa, in Mexico, and even aliens who contact with Musk, persuade the world, let the world see. We don't need even to question. Let the world see Russia is a bully. Russia is weak. Russia does not control its borders. We destroy its oil refineries, seriously harming its industry. In just like half a year, Russia is losing. Being the largest country in the world, being one of the craziest and most violent countries in the world, Russia is losing. And if you help Ukraine just a little bit, we can defeat this evil. We can watch Russia defeated, and then there is a chance for this world. Don't be afraid to liberate the Kursk region, or as some people claim, Kursk People's Republic. And then maybe more good news will come from the swampy lands of Moscovia. Subscribe to get more updates. Join me on Instagram, X, Threads, and we have a beautiful Discord community. Also, we have a beautiful merch shop with lots of t-shirts, sweatshirts, caps, stickers, and cups that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine, and we need that to defeat Russian evil. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. I'm very grateful for your support and friendship, and most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!